Straight people of Reddit, what's the gayest thing you've done? Was 12 years old or so at my friend Ty's house. He was maybe 10. Offered me $20 to make AX with our wieners. Needless to say, later that day I bought myself 2 12-packs of soda and some bags of chips. Me and my friends one night got really drunk and started streaking around where we live, very small area. Got so mad lad we started handshaking each other's dicks. How do you do? We would say. Love the lads with all my heart. Had to hold my buddy's hand while the doctor played hand puppet with his prostate. Me and my best bud, at the time, accidentally interlocked our ass cheeks in bed together. I had a sleepover at my friend's house when I was 13. And we laid out some blankets and fell asleep in his living room. I woke up first to him spooning me. And I didn't move at all because I wanted to avoid any awkward moment in our friendship by having us both know of that cuddle moment. So I laid there as still as I could for maybe 30 minutes until he woke up and quickly but carefully got off of me. I then got up 10 minutes later. And that moment now doesn't exist in our friendship. Well, I had a comfortably but not publicly out gay kid convince me that the best way to practice having sex with a girl, we were 13 at the time, was to practice humping each other. I had zero idea that was an issue and we dry humped for an hour or so. My best friend is gay. We were drinking with some other friends at a bar when a very aggressive drunk woman refused to stop hitting on him. He made it very clear he was gay, but she ignored it or just flat out refused to believe him. I was doing my own thing and talking to people when I noticed how uncomfortable he was. I kinda just listened in at first and heard her say something like, "Trust me, you won't be gay once I'm done with you." Admittedly, I laughed and thought about just leaving him to it. He's very capable of dealing with people that bother him. I wasn't exactly sure why, but he was very weird about just walking off from her or telling her forcefully to stop. I observed the back and forth a bit more and realized the woman was clearly on the spectrum, and then it all clicked. My friend's brother has autism and it's an issue he is very passionate about, so it made sense why he wasn't being blunt with her. I am sure he would have figured out a way to tactfully exit, but I was a bit buzzed and just expedited it. I walked over to him, put my arm around him and planted a kiss on his cheek and said, "Hey honey, who's your new friend?" Both of them were shocked, but he composed himself quickly and introduced me to her as his boyfriend. She stared blankly for a few seconds, said, hi, then walked off, and that was the end of it. I mentioned his shock in the situation because despite him and I being friends for years, he always had this strange perception that I wouldn't be alright with him being gay due to my background, former military and law enforcement. He even hid his sexuality very effectively for the first couple years of our friendship. That honestly hurt me a bit. 1. Because he didn't think I'd accept him, and 2. Because I was always talking about women to him and felt like a total ass. I know this may not be a super exciting story and nothing about it was very gay. But it's the only thing that came to mind. Cheeky smiley face. Somehow I managed to give the world 3 gay sons. One of my gay friends from HS found out and asked, "WTF man? You got glitter in your spunk?" Laughing face. My best friend is gay. He got kicked out of his family when they found out. Took his car, money, and threw him out. So I had an empty room and let him stay with me and get him a job. But there would be times he would just come to my room while bawling. There were nights when we spooned until he passed out. Nothing ever happened more than that. He just needed to be held and to know he's loved. Nothing. I've said no homo before doing anything with other men. A coworker made a pass at my GF at a social event. He said, "It's a free country," and tried to shake hands, so I pretended I was cool and gave him a bro hug but didn't let go. When he looked at me puzzled, I inched my face close to his and romantically closed my eyes like going in for a kiss. When he pushed me off, he was disgusted and said, "WTF?" I told him, "That's exactly how she felt. Stay the fuck away from us." This was in the early days of my college career when I'd go see my friends at another college. After partying during the day, night, 4 of us would pile into a single double bed and spoon. A few times one of us would call out spoon change to signal it was time for us all to turn over and face the opposite direction. Edit. Username checks out, I get it lol. Shared a pillow and sleeping bag with another guy. I'm 6 feet 3,200 pounds and he was 6 feet 180 pounds, so it was a tight squeeze. But it was minus 45 degrees C and we were in a cabin without heat, so it was worth it. Edit. To answer some common questions. We were in Northern Ontario, Canada. When we went to bed we were back to back. When we woke up I was the little spoon. No, we weren't wearing socks. No, I don't think survival is gay, but this is the gayest thing I've personnel done. Yes, we said no homo first and we were making gay jokes the entire time. Edit 2. We weren't wearing socks because we were trying to disperse body heat throughout the sleeping bag. Because we didn't have loose socks and it would restrict circulation, especially with us not moving around. And we were always told to not wear socks while camping in the cold here if you're in a sleeping bag. Because your feet will sweat and they'll get even colder. Similar to not wearing a coat while hiking in the cold here. Better to be a little cold than a little too warm because of sweat. Probably jacking off with a friend to see who could come first when we were in like middle school. Little did we know that it was definitely not heterosexual and coming first would later be looked at as a bad thing. Lol. Edit. I normally hate the people who edit comments and thank people for awards, but holy shit. I woke up to 13k upvotes and 5 awards for this. What the actual hell? Thank you, ahaha. It seems like a lot of commenters did this as well, so there's that. To answer the most popular question I saw though. I won. Not sure if that's a good or a bad thing though. Had a threesome and ended up liking the girl better. My best friend was sad. His boyfriend of a number of years cheated on him and so my friend dumped him. He was most upset. He had booked a trip for a bear cub retreat in northern CA. It had been a year or so since we had actually seen each other, so I suggested he go and I would come up and we could spend some time together and go wine tasting. And that's what happened. But the night I showed up was the bear cub ball. So I was his date. We grew up together. It was strictly platonic. He's more my brother, but I learned that night I'm considered a bear. We came in second place in the ball. So much back hair. Rip pool drain. We laugh about it still and I love him very much. He met another man that weekend and they celebrated their 5th anniversary last Pi Day. Tried to crank it to gay porn just to check. Didn't work, but I didn't know about incog mode or clearing history, so that was a fun talk with my parents. Young me was an idiot. You know when porn just cuts to the dude's balls. I watched an episode of Glee once. I also like to dildo my ass, but I led with the strong argument. Edit. Slow clap. Figures. My most upvoted comment is about me sticking a dildo up my ass. I was in basic training. The showers in basic were just this square room with shower heads all around the outside. And a small, 4 feet, opening on the end to go in and out. Well, in basic training, they tend to hurry you up a little bit whenever you do anything. In a rush to get out. I side shuffled face to face with this other guy that was coming in through that opening. Somehow, our dicks contacted damn near at the base. And slid alongside each other, like a cool handshake or something. We looked into each other's eyes. And he said, "We will never speak of this." And I said, "Yep." Hooked up with another girl. She puked in my sink. Stole my vibrator and wrote a note in my MAC lipstick in the mirror that said, "Sorry for puking in your sink. No regards here." Edit. I didn't expect this to blow up. Or should I say explode. Thanks for the silver, hooray, maybe my first reward ever. Slapped my friend's ass and then kicked it after he stole my strepsils because his voice sounded horrible during a residential school trip. In the night he slapped my ass again, so I slapped it back. It ended up being a fight until like 12 in the night. All other 6 kids who was watching joined in the fight. That meant everyone was slapping each other's ass. This was in the boys' room. Damn, I was expecting to find a bunch of weird shit, but a lot of this are surprisingly wholesome. Held my bro's dick for him so he could piss. He had an arm in a sling and had managed to throw his other shoulder out drunk as fuck in Vegas. Well, according to some asshole kids in my class. I was gay as fuck for taking dance when I was a kid, tap, jazz, contemporary, etc. Joke was on them though. Since I spent all my time with girls in tights and leotards who were in incredible shape from dancing while they spent all their time with other guys in locker rooms that smelled like balls. I, 18 meters at the time, was receiving an amazing BJ from my girlfriend, 18F at the time. Now wife, we were in her room at her mum's house with all kinds of magazine cutouts on the walls. We didn't really discuss where I was going to come. But knew she didn't want a shot to the mouth. Lost in the moment and brought to completion, I turned 90 degrees as quickly as possible and ejaculated on a picture of Josh Hartnett's face. Accidentally kissed my friend at a Halloween party. We were all up in each other's face for a mock-aggressive stare-down. So I made the kissy face to be funny. We were closer together than I thought. He said I was a good kisser. Lived with a gay guy for a couple years in college who seemingly befriended me, at the beginning at least, because he hoped I was gay too. Then came out to me and still wanted to see if I was interested in sharing an apartment. I was really honored he was open to sharing that part of his life with me and moving in together even after finding out I wasn't also gay. We were great friends. And other than the time I accidentally burned some rice in one of his pots, I replaced it. We had a great living situation. This was in a fairly conservative area and time, so he and our friends were really careful about who to come out to. And our apartment became the place to be for our gay and lesbian friends. Once a month we'd have a big gay weekend so everyone could have fun and feel safe and free in this difficult place for them. We'd have everyone stay in for drinks and snacks and video games. Then go to the drag night to dance at the only place anywhere nearby that was accepting and encouraging of LGBTA for one night a month. Then come back to the apartment. Lay a couple mattresses on the floor of the den. And watch goofy movies or, depending on intoxication levels, the funniest porn we could find. It was awesome. I actually would have done much better. Hookup-wise. Had I been gay. Alas. But I did fine on the straight side. He and I would help each other since we had opposite target audiences, and I made treasured friendships. French kissed a guy on a drunk dare. Biggest surprise for me was that it just felt like kissing laughing face. I know it sounds stupid, but I thought it will somehow feel different with a man, but it didn't really. This experience actually taught me a lot about sexuality. Made out with a dude. He's now my best man. Edit. Really? Why is this my top comment? Compared dick size. I'm so straight I could suck a dick and it wouldn't be gay. Kissed my buddy, but it was a bet from other friend. They would $5 us $20 each, so we kissed and the money they showed us was fake suyi. When I was a teenager, I was pretty flexible and tried sucking my own dick. I was able to touch it with my tongue the first time I tried. I kept trying. Ultimately, I was able to get about an inch in my mouth, which was enough to give myself a good enough BJ to cum. So, I guess you could say I've sucked enough dick to know I don't really like sucking dick. Figured out I was straight. The unusual way. Best friend is gay. He's a couple years older than me. So he has been going to bars for a while before I turned 21. He had a gay bar that he loved and would always talk about the new friends he made there. And since he was from the deep south, and kinda newly out, he just felt like he finally had people that got him. Anyway, the day I turned 21, instead of going to some club or something, I went to his gay bar. Watched a drag show. And my buddy bought me some shit where a super ripped bartender put his legs around me and gave me a shot poured from a shot glass with his mouth about 2 inches from mine. It was honestly fun as shit. And I'm a very secure dude. So it was all in fun. I'll even admit, it was kinda fun to be hit on like I was some sort of super stud. When I was in the military, my good friend moved into my apartment with my ex-wife and me for about 6 months. We got drunk one night and pissed into the same toilet. At the same time, with the door open, we got some good laughs out of my ex. I'd like to think that's why we did it, but mostly, I think it was a measuring contest. Only Swedish people know what happened in the pillow room. Was on the swim team. Some pretty interesting times in the locker room. Kind of a toss-up. It's either liking show tunes and Broadway musicals or the times I had sex with a guy. A straight man doing gay things thread. You say? Unzips. At a dance club with a decent-sized group of friends. Girlfriend included. I'm off getting drinks and return to see a random drunk kid who had been dancing with the group go in for a kiss on the GF. Like, really awkward and sudden and rather aggressive. She turned and squirmed away and laughed at him. But didn't really do anything that the situation would warrant. So I pounded my drink. Walked right up to him. Took his face in both hands. Dipped him a little. And went in for a real big open mouth kiss. Stopping just shy to see the horror and confusion on his face. Oh. Brah, I'm so sorry. I forgot you can't just grab people and kiss 'em. Oh shit. My bad. I totally forgot the rule. That's crazy. He started getting really angry looking. But after a few beats it seemed to sink in and he got real embarrassed. It was a moment of glory. No kidding. I was high-fiving my boys and the girls were laughing and giving me thumbs up. Everyone agreed it was a riot, just the perfect response. Anyway, later we started blowing each other in his car. Now we're married with 4 terriers. My 24 meters fiancé, 24F, is really into guys kissing each other. She's bisexual and I consider myself straight. However, one night I was drunk enough to kiss a nice gay guy that we were hanging out with. After she playfully said that it would make her really hot. Indeed, when we got home she went really wild on me. And we ended up having probably the best sex of my life. No regrets. Shoved a Sharpie up my ass to see what the big deal is. I wasn't impressed. A study session with my best friend turned into makeout session. On the bells at New Year's this year, I kissed my other straight dude friend. Everyone else there was a couple and we decided to show them up by being more passionate. We were very drunk. I didn't remember it until 2 weeks after. Good times. Edit. By passionate I mean that we were really going for it. No tongues. But it was sloppy. Wasn't really passionate LMAO. I fucked my best friend until my dad came. Not me, but this happened at the gym yesterday and I am still a bit shocked. So I walk into the locker room to change my shoes and put away my stuff. These 2 guys are sitting talking about their workout. They then fist bump. Stand up. Face to face. Full eye contact and both pull down their pant and underwear. Now men locker rooms have plenty of naked men. But I have never in my life seen 2 men make eye contact and go cock to change. I get really flustered around pretty women. As I'm not even being able to talk without stuttering a little bit. I'm still pretty much straight. But pretty women make me nervous. I do homoerotic shit all the time. My girlfriend was convinced I was gay and I made her cry because she just wanted to know the truth. Truth is, I'm straight as a goddamn arrow. I just don't give a fuck. Apparently I'm too much like my dad. I was at a friend's house and he was shirtless playing his Xbox and the whole time I was sitting there I wanted to twiddle his nipples so bad for fun, but I didn't. I was tempted to though. I owned a motorcycle and scooter shop here in Atlanta for years. The gay and lesbian community was my largest scooter buying demographic. Living in Midtown Atlanta or around that area, the scooter was a perfect vehicle for getting around town. In 2002 or 2003, the Pride Parade was coming, and some of my customers came to me to ask a favor. About a dozen of them were going to ride their scooters in the parade. But they wanted more of a presence, and wanted me to loan them some more scooters so they could have a bigger group. I agreed to loan them several more scooters. And then they asked me to come ride with them. I certainly have nothing against them or the parade itself. But I'm an old straight white guy. It's not really my scene and it would seem weird to me. I don't think I belong and I didn't think people would want me there. Now, one of my customers was a nice young girl who worked at a hair salon. She didn't buy a scooter from me, but rather another brand from another dealer. I'm perfectly okay with that. Because I think the more scooters on the road is a good thing for everybody. That said, the other dealer treated her badly. And wouldn't service her scooter for her. So she came to me and I did. I made a new friend that day. Some of our customers would come every Saturday and do a ride with a scooter group throughout Atlanta. And she would come, even though she didn't have one of our scooters. I love her for it. Because the only thing that was important was the camaraderie of the riding group. They begged me for days to ride with them. And I finally gave in. All of my customers were on a little 50cc scooters. But I had a big 400cc scooter that I chose to ride. They found me a t-shirt that said, "Straight but not narrow." And we set off for Midtown. There were about 20 of us. And we had a lot of fun. And I saw some very interesting sights. During one stop in the parade, I looked over to the crowd. And I saw my haircutting customer standing on the side. I waved, and she ran over to me, and threw her arms around me. She started crying, and said she was so thankful that I was there, supporting her community and not being ashamed or distant from her and her friends. A handful of other friends came over, and were all hugging and crying, and I really don't know why. It was a very moving moment and a very moving day. I'm glad I chose to be there and support my friends. I know this isn't really doing something gay, but I'm proud of what I did. And I'm proud to call about 50 people that I met through my job my friends. Although I closed the shop years ago, I still see a lot of my customers at restaurants and shops around the Midtown and downtown area. I always get a hug. And always get a free dessert. Back in high school I would hang out with a friend I'd known since elementary school. And he came out as gay in sophomore year. One day we were hanging out at my house. Parents were out of town that day, and we got on the topic of sexuality. I mentioned that, since I didn't have much experience at that point, wasn't 100% sure if I was straight, gay, bi or whatever. Then he says, well, I happen to know a pretty good way to figure out if you're gay or not. Being the horny high schooler that I was, I say, fuck it. Sure. And we both drop our pants to jerk each other off. He grabs my dick and gets it up. So far so good, it feels alright, though not amazing or anything. Then I grab his dick. And suddenly I'm hit with this overwhelming feeling of, wow, I'm very straight. We stopped soon after, since I wasn't comfortable jerking him off after that. I felt bad since I felt like I had led him on or something, but he seemed to think the whole situation was hilarious. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.